If you're getting into the settlement construction aspect of Fallout 4 and you want to get the highest, best possible merchant levels possible, you can't simply rely on your settlers. There are a handful of unique merchants in the game, and where they stand out from the rest, as I understand it, is they sell legendary equipment. And so they're either referred to as level 4 merchants or legendary merchants. And they can be a little tricky to find. Now, in order to recruit them and use them as intended, you will need a level 3 store. And to unlock level 3 stores, you need both the Cat Collector upgrade to your perk tree, as well as the Local Leader perk, among others. And so it may be later on in the game before you're able to do this, if you're committing some perks to combat to get you through the game. At any rate, once you're in a position to build level 3 stores, you need to assign these legendary merchants to them in order to unlock their potential. There are a few areas in the game where they can be found, specifically these campfires, and I'm going to show you 4 different campfires in the course of this video where people have reported that these legendary merchants show up, and from there you can recruit them unless any bugs rear their ugly heads. This is, after all, a Bethesda game. At any rate, from the Peabody Home in the south of the map is the first of the 4 campfires I'm going to show you. If you're watching the video just then, some weird things can happen at these campfires. But there are no fast travel locations direct to the campfires, so you need to go to the closest possible location on the map. For this first campfire, of course, as already mentioned, the Peabody Home in the southern portion of the map is a short walk around the swamp to the campfire. And if you keep going back and forth from fast travel locations, this area, and indeed the other areas, respawn rather quickly. The second campfire is at the Westing Estate. If you load up the fast travel and then go around the right-hand side of the fence, by the water there will be another campfire, which, just like the one near the Peabody Home, spawns random NPCs. These can be enemies, these can be neutral NPCs. It's just a complete luck of the draw. There are no guarantees in this, and you'll have to be ready to fight. In my case, the 2 times I arrived at the Westing Estate and wrapped around the side of the fence, I came across a pack of ghouls, which included a legendary ghoul. And then the second time around, I came into contact with a large group of super mutants. So be wary if your character is set up in a way that's more of a pure merchant rather than a fighter. This can be extremely dangerous, especially if you're a higher level, because some fairly difficult enemies can spawn, and if you don't have a companion with you, it's pretty easy to get overwhelmed. At any rate, here, as I mentioned, is my second attempt at the Westing Estate campfire. I didn't get lucky here. As you see, there are several super mutants. Now, they weren't a threat to me, thankfully, but it's a bit of a disappointment. Now, one thing to keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is these campfires respawn quickly. And so once you're familiar with their locations in the Commonwealth, you can do alright, as far as I can tell, by simply fast traveling between these locations. Each time you do so, the campfire, by the time you arrive, hopefully will have respawned, hopefully with a legendary merchant. The next location, once I've moved on from the Westing Estate campfire, is in a different section of the map. You'll see in just a moment where it is. You've probably seen it before. It is just outside of Concord, which ought to have been the first location outside of Red Rocket that you discovered upon leaving Sanctuary. Here it is on the mini-map. It's not hard to find. You just follow the road out of town. The enemies here also should be a fairly low level, being as it is in the northwestern portion of the map. Now for me, my experience has been a little different from the other people online. Some people do report random spawns here. Every time I've been, it's this dude cooking and complaining about flatulence and other bowel disorders based on his cooking. So, no luck there for me. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. This is a very easy campfire to spot, especially at night. It's a large paved area with a fire. And finally, once you leave Concord, there's this one just outside of the mass fusion containment shed. It's another one that's easy to spot at night, and in my case, I struck gold. I found a legendary merchant, and you'll see in just a moment which one it is. If you are still watching at this point, check the description of the video. I'll include a link to the Wikia, and the Wikia can tell you better than I where these legendary merchants should be assigned, and also maybe where you can find them. This Ron Staples guy, as far as I know, is a food vendor, food and drink vendor, that you can use in your settlement. For whatever reason, although I met the requirements to recruit him, due to a bug, he would not join me, and I couldn't recruit him. You might have more luck. At any rate, this is proof that you do come across legendary merchants while you're on the road and while you're cycling through these campfires. So stay patient. It might take a few trips. It might take quite a few more than just a few trips. But eventually, if you stick with it, you'll hopefully run across the merchant or merchants that you were looking for to supplement your settlement. So happy hunting. Thank you for watching the video. Don't be afraid to hit the like button, and stay tuned for further videos.